Guys, what's up? Dan Klein, Job Killing. We're doing a case study interview with my man Taylor. Now, I've had people over the years that we've done these case studies say, "Well, I think that one was staged." And I want to say this. I want to kind of go out on a limb. I had a conversation with Taylor. And for any of you guys know, I'm a big University of Oregon Duck fan. He's a Washington Husky fan. And I got to be honest with you. So I played 1 year, walked on at Oregon. You can see, actually, I was just showing him the jersey and my wife's cheerleading uniform in the background. We have no love for Huskies. I mean, I'm talking like when it was Husky week, like there's like major bad blood. Like I'm pretty sure you guys like danced on our O back in those days when I was there, like the year before. And it was there's a lot of bad blood. So I would never do an interview with a Husky, but I would never do it on camera, but I'm doing it. But no, this will be fun, man. I really appreciate you getting on. So kind of give me, or everyone watching, give us some background, your age, kind of where you live, kind of like how you got involved. We'll go from there.
All right. So huge shocker to everybody. I live 5 minutes outside Seattle, and I'm 24. And I went to high school out in just in the suburbs here, and I was set to go to college and all that. I was gonna, be a sports broadcaster and do all that fun stuff. And then I got a job selling kitchen knives, and I fell in love with being my own boss. I was making good money for a 19-year-old. I went to Europe, bought a car, and I was like, you know what, screw school. I'm not gonna go and accumulate debt, and I don't want to work for anybody my whole life. So, I got. And just stuck with the knife selling thing. Got into did some MLM stuff. Worked for a mortgage company. Bounced around, sold residential windows. Did all that type of stuff. And in reality, nothing's been as fulfilling or anything like that. And so that's why I hopped into learning more about how I can make money online through the Job Killing program.
Gotcha. So do you remember the date you joined?
Yeah, February 15th.
Okay,
2015.
2015. Okay, so you've been in like 11 months at this point.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so talk to us about that. Like, as I remember when you joined, you were doing something with like fundraising or something, I feel like, right?
Yeah, I was responsible for raising capital for a startup that was like, just the most uneventful, unfulfilling, wasn't benefiting anybody. But it was just a standard position. Did that for 2 years, and I got sick of making not enough money and working for somebody who was always in Thailand and Vietnam doing stuff. So I was like, you know what? I want to be the one in Thailand and Vietnam doing stuff.
So are you working for anyone currently? Or are you done? Have you killed your job?
Done. It's murdered, brother. Goners.
When did we murder the job?
Early December. December.
So to about 10 months or so into the program,
it did.
Walked away.
It took me 10 months, and the reason being is in the beginning, I just learning this whole. I don't come from a tech or web or internet background. Learning all this online stuff was a challenge for me, and so I was making so many mistakes. If you think you guys are about to make some mistakes, don't feel bad, because I made so many mistakes in the beginning. I laugh now looking back at all the ridiculous things I did to jeopardize my income. But after a few months, you just learn what to do and what not to do, and you get better at it. And it took me a while to start realizing the things I needed to focus more on, and things that were making me more money, and things that were holding me back. And now
Right.
It's just sky's the limit.
Dude, so like one of the things I kind of pride myself on is I'm not techie at all, as you know, which is why most of our stuff is like super, super simple. With that being said, like any new skill set, right? You still got to learn, and you got to take your lumps, and you figure out faster ways to do things. It's just like riding a bike. The more you do it, the easier it becomes, and what have you. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of similar in nature, I think, to your background of we're probably not the most technical dudes out there, but yet we probably are in a level of people that start internet businesses, because there's a lot of people that start internet businesses and they fail because they get focused like it's like a tech. They think it's a tech business or a tech startup, when in reality it's not. It's all about, in my opinion, kind of figuring out with your limited abilities how to maneuver the web and learn the little easy to use drag and drop type tools and stuff like that to be able to get you the results, so then you can go out there and put that deal together with the local business owner. Now, probably not all internet businesses are like that, right? Because some of them like are predicated on e-commerce and all these things that don't have the outside local touch. But I think it's a unique thing about what we do with like local lead generation is that it's like probably what 10% technology and 90% like just having some basic people skills and sending over some leads and like kind of opening up a conversation. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, totally. The thing I love most about this is the sales. You're selling your service, you're selling your skills, you're selling your abilities to bring them business. And the tech stuff is once you get used to it, it's honestly, I could put together a money site and get all the citations and everything done in probably 2 hours.
Yeah.
And have it generating leads within within 10 to 14 days without running AdWord campaign or anything like that. So the process is simple once you learn how to do it. In the beginning, obviously it's challenging, but it's like now I get people that are tagging me in the group wanting advice, which is so funny to me because 11 months ago I was borderline mentally disabled when it came to this stuff.
Right. No, I mean, so probably one of my favorite things that I try to tell people and try to get through to people. It's not always doable, I'll tell you that much. Some of these times, like I have conversations with people and I know what we have for them can change their life, like without a shadow of a doubt, which is sometimes why I go a little bit hard on these calls. But it's like what you have now, like me and you could completely disconnect, like never talk to each other again. And I know without a shadow of a doubt, you can go for the next 20 years of your life and support your family, support yourself, bring in income, and you never have to have another job in your life. Would you agree with that?
Exactly, 100%. The amount of residual income that I've been able to build up will take care of me. Even if I never come back to my computer, if I go and get locked up like Stephen Avery. Sorry if I ruined it for Making a Murderer. People, if you're watching that show, I just ruined it. I apologize. But if I got locked up, the money would still come in, which is the cool thing about this, because when you do something once and you get paid for it over and over. And that's why I was drawn to this program in the get-go.
Yeah, no, that for sure. But I think like what I look at even more than that is like the skill set that we have, that we're helping people develop more than anything. Because like you didn't go to school. I only made it through a year of college before I got injured, and then just wasn't my thing. Like in life, I feel like we are directly compensated for the skills we do and don't have.
Yes.
If you can push a freaking a lawnmower, it's like fantastic, man. You get $10 a push. You don't get much money. But if you're a heart surgeon, you get paid like $550,000 a year. So like part of my like drive and what we do in this coaching program is I'm like, I want to build your skill set. So if you and I disconnect and we're done with each other, I've given you something that you could take on for years and years and years to come and continue building and bringing in, whether it's full-time income, part-time income, or just enough to pay your mortgage and your house payment. You have a skill that no one ever can take from you.
That's so true. You can't, I can't say anything better than that, Dan. You summed it up perfectly, man. It really comes down to just that. You teach us a skill set that a lot of us didn't have. Some people, come into the group and they do have some background and learn they can do the SEO stuff, but learning how to generate leads for business, learning how to get people's websites ranked on Google. It's a talent and a skill that these businesses are willing to pay a good amount of money to have somebody come aboard and help them out with.
Yeah. And, I think too, like just kind of, obviously we've got 1,300 students in the program now. And so people always ask the question like, well, there's a lot of people that do that. I think the approach and way we train you guys is something that most people aren't willing to do. So like, there's a lot of people that probably know how to do or come into our program and have some of the skills that we are about to teach them. Maybe they even have a ton of the skills, but they can't put all the pieces together, right? And so more than just like an SEO or a lead gen program, there's definitely those are out there. I don't know, and I'd like your feedback on this. Like, I feel like Brad and I have really put a big focus on making this like the complete program. So it's not just learning the skill, but it's all the other skills, from how you do the prospecting, how you do the sales, how do you price things, what niches, the business, how do you form your business, like all those little things. Have you done other stuff, or like what's your feedback on that?
Yeah, it's exactly what you're saying, because it's funny. I'll be talking to these people, trying to close these deals, and they're like, oh, we get 3 or 4 of these every single day. And I'm like, well, let me ask you something, Don. I was talking to this guy earlier. I was like, Don, honestly, let me ask you, why haven't you called these guys back? Why did you not go forward with them? Why did you instead call me back? And he said, well, to be honest with you, you were the only person who offered to do something for me before I was willing to pick up the phone and call you. So most of these SEO guys, you know, they come on board saying, hey, you know, here's the price of, and here's what we'll do for you. With my pitch, when I talk to these guys, is I say, hey, Don, you know, what I'll do is I'll create a website analysis for you, let you know everything you're doing wrong, let you know all the things you can do to change them, to improve your website ranking. At the end of the day, if you want my help to come aboard and work on this stuff for you, I'd love to be able to do that. But in the end, my goal really is just to educate and inform you. And again, this is all stuff that Brad and you taught me how to do, right? Yeah. You know, it's like, you know, you're talking about Gary Vaynerchuk a couple months back. He talks about jab, 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 hook, right? You give, then boom. That's when you go for the sale and you earn their trust, and then you can take their card, right? If they, you know, like Zig Ziglar said, if somebody likes you, you know, they'll listen to you, but if they trust you, they'll do business with you. So yeah. You know, I learned all these cool things from you guys, and granted, I did have a sales background, but I didn't know anything about SEO, and now I can sell it on why they should go ahead and go with me.
Yeah, and I think, you know, sending leads in advance and sending the phone calls into these businesses first builds so much trust and desire that no one else is willing to do. And so I think, like, although sometimes our process can take a day or 2 or 3 longer than the guy that just sends over the proposal and pay me this much money or I'm not going to work with you, I really know, well, because I've been doing this for now going on 8 years, is like I have clients that are going on 8 years old with me. So that trust and desire and that early building of that relationship keeps that long-term kind of business going. It's not just the wham, bam, thank you, ma'am type of a sale. You know, it's really built on, hey, let me serve you, let me give you first. And that's really what we're trying to do on these case studies, is try to give someone that's on the outside looking into job killing kind of like a piece. And like, so with that, let's maybe bring up some of your projects and kind of show off some of the awesome stuff you've done over the last 11 months.
Yeah, dude, I'll screen share it. Is that now's the time to screen share it?
Yeah, let's screen share away.
Okay. Cool, man. Let me know. You can
just
see.
Talk us through any of these too. Like, once your screen's up, I think it's me on your screen right now. There you go.
Can you see? All right. So this was actually the very first site I created. It's just a lead capture page. As you can see, it's the exact same method that you learn in the week 1 of training from Dan. Just obviously over time, you learn to add a couple of cool things here and there and whatnot. But it's nothing too crazy. I didn't you know, go out and do a new theme. I know a lot of people like to do their own theme or whatever. But what it came down to for this one is I added a bunch of authoritative, informative content on 26 different subpages. I wanted Google to have no choice but to rank this at the top of Google, you know, and I wanted, you know, so I got citations, got the reviews, I did everything that you were teaching me how to do. And now let me show you, for the people looking at this video, where this site ranks on Google for the main keyword. If you type in Spokane Valley Limos, the #1 website in maps and in organic is my website. So this is worth so much to the business owner in Spokane Valley. It's only about 100,000 people. There's not a humongous desire for limos, but it's still, he's able to pay, I think he pays $675 a month. And so that's, you know, I paid maybe $150 total to get this whole site up, built, citations, hosting, everything, domain, whatever. And in return, it's going to make me, you know, $7,000 this year, $8,000, whatever. And again, this is just one. And then that,
So wait. Just because I think this is so important for the person on the outside looking in. The very first project you put up is going to return you about $7,000 in the year.
Yeah, maybe 8, maybe 9, something like that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There's not very many businesses out there that I know about. You know, let's talk about a Subway franchise. $200,000 on average to open up a Subway franchise. They say you don't even recap your money till year 2.5. So, and then when you do, you're starting to profit at you know, maybe 80 grand a year. This is your very first project while you still knew nothing, as you were talking about. Your very first project is a profitable project, and it's like the down and dirty junk we train you on. So it's like it was your like apprenticeship, and it's your moneymaker. So it's important for people to hear that, because a lot of times on our phone calls, people just aren't really sure like how long it's going to take them and if they're going to get profitable. And it's like, it's so easy to get profitable in this business because we don't have all the overhead of a Subway franchise, and we don't have all the stuff. Like you and I are both sitting at our homes in our home offices, and you know, with some knowledge and some skill set and some understanding, like we passed our knowledge to Taylor, and he's turned that into, you know, this awesome business. The other thing I think is interesting, and you'll probably agree with me, is everyone looks on everything at an annual basis. Oh, that's only worth, let's say $7,000 a year. When you have clients like I do that have been with me for 8 years, that's $7,000 that you learned from us in this initial training is now worth $56,000 to you.
Right.
From this first project. And so if you look at the timeline of how long these clients stick with you. Now, of course, not every client stays forever and all that stuff, but so important to see that this one asset that Taylor's created can literally pay him $56,000 over the next 8 years, one project. And then it's just, that was how we trained you. So huge for people to see. Show us some other stuff.
All right, man. So after a while of doing this, when you build so many,
you're on me. You're on my screen.
Can you see me now?
There you go.
Okay. So after a while of doing this stuff, money sites, you get into closing flat fee SEO deals. And again, start with the money sites. Obviously, that's how I learned is you create a money site because you need to learn how to do the process. But eventually, once you can do the process for your site, why can't you do it for another company, right? So what I did was I sent out a bunch of emails, and I'll get to that in a second. But I landed a couple clients right here. I'll show you. Hercules Tree Service and JLM Remodeling. And their websites were so terrible. I said, hey, let me do this. I'm going to put all your stuff onto a Weebly platform. I'm going to do SEO for this site. I'm going to do the exact same thing I did on this site that I did for this site.
Right.
And we're going to see how it ranks. So, this is just one that I built for a guy. His site was absolutely junk. And this has just been done a few days. Like I think I started this on like Sunday, but how's
this guy going to pay you?
He's going to pay $500 a month. And I'll show you right here.
$6,000 a year.
Yep. So $500 a month from him, and he's right here. His name's Jeff.
No, that's cool, man. We get it.
I probably shouldn't show his personal. Probably shouldn't show his personal number stuff, but
this might be seen by 50,000 people by the time we're done with it. So you might want to keep that to yourself. But no, dude, it's amazing, dude. So keep going.
Okay, so here's one, Hercules Tree Service, same exact situation. I landed this guy, pitching him on making him a free screencast video for his website, and his site was junk. So I said, hey, let me put this onto just a standard Weebly platform, and he pays $500 a month for the first 3 months, and then if he likes what he sees after the first 3 months, we're going to charge him $3,000 a month. Okay, so that's going to pay $36,000 next.
Just so everyone's clear, I want people listening from the outside in. That's not uncommon in the tree care space. It's a space that I've been in for many years. One tree job could be worth $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. There's a big, when it's when you got to fall a bunch of trees or you got them right near a home. So it's not that Taylor's overcharging for this, but first he's going to build some trust with this client, like we teach, and then it's going to be a relationship, and it's a mutually beneficial relationship. This guy's good at tree care. Let Taylor come to the table with lead gen and let him build lead gen strategies. And I also want to make it really clear, we're only showing off the sites, but there's a lot more spokes on the wheel to the job killing process that we don't talk about generally on these case studies. Kind of a lot of more of the secret sauce that we train inside of our process. We show off the sites as the front facing thing, so you guys can go check them out. Please, please, please don't mess around with any of these students that have went on and been kind enough to show off their sites. This is their income. Please don't contact these business owners or anything like that. I know you guys wouldn't, but I just want to preface that and understand that like Taylor's showing one spoke on the ultimate wheel of all the stuff he's going to be doing for lead gen for this client. So the client will be willing to pay him $3,000 a month. So
okay,
let's keep moving.
I appreciate you. Yeah. I mean, just don't go telling Jeff Murray that I shared his credit card information with 5,000 people. I'm hoping his card didn't show there, but
it did, and I checked.
Okay. Thanks, dude. All right. So here's one that actually is really exciting. It's a home builder niche. Okay. And this is a niche that I got into because I was thinking, I've messed around with limos. I've done some carpet cleaning, roofing, tree service. I've done some of this stuff. Well, let's go after a project that's going to, net a business owner over $1 million. Right. So I contacted a local company here on Mercer Island. It's actually just a small city outside Seattle I live in, and a really high-end community. People are willing to pay a lot of money to live here. So I contacted a local company. I said, hey, Jay, I do lead generation. I have this site. Let me send you some leads. How's that sound? He said, okay, cool. Sounds good, man. Shoot me over some leads. And so I said, all right, well, let me do this. Let me offer you a commission, kind of a proposal. So I sent this guy a proposal on this thing, and he was like, it was like, 10,000 or 12,000 on $1 million plus, or 8,000 on a million below. Or just I kind of shortchanged myself in retrospect, looking back on it, because he then emailed me back and he was like, "Hey Taylor, let me just pay you 3% on everything. So if you bring me $1 million deal, I'll pay you 30 grand."
Yep.
So as you can see, if I get this thing ranked really high, I'm going to do the exact same thing for this in the neighboring city. If I bring a couple of leads, and I've got a partner on this I work with on this, so I'd split that in half. But at the same time, 4 or 5 deals is just a ton of money next year alone on this site alone.
Yeah, and I think it's we talk about this a lot on a lot of the calls, Tuesday, Thursday calls. Just like you have to have a portfolio of sites. It's just like owning. It's like holding real estate is the best way for me to explain this. Even though you're talking about building, it's like you're building a luxury home, you're building a townhouse, you're building a condo, and the luxury home might return you $50,000 a year in commissions or rent, we'll call it. The apartment might return you $9,000, and the condo might pay you $5,000. And it's risk versus reward. It's having a portfolio of all these different areas that you can have possible income. Some more risky than others. It's okay. I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket on luxury homes, but heck, for the few hours it took you to build that out and the small amount of work that you're going to put into it, really, in the long run, even if it makes you one sale a year at 3%, and you do that each year in, year out, dude, I don't know what your hourly rate was, but I bet it's ridiculous, right?
Yes, sir.
It's all about that knowledge, though, man. Without the knowledge, man, you can't put this stuff into action, and that's so big for people to understand,
Agree, man. Agree. So, there's all sorts of different money sites or client sites I can.
You're on my picture again.
Okay, I got you. So like, let me show you just another one.
So let's talk to me a little bit about like where your business is at right now. I know you were working full time when we got started with you, and I know that the first 60 days you were kind of finding your, getting your feet wet and stuff like that. You've now killed your job, which is what people generally come to job killing to do. Go figure.
Yep.
Let's talk to me about income. Now that you've been full time, every person that I've worked with, once they kill their job, they definitely have this like kind of like really big upward swing in income, because they now have all this time freedom that they go and start working full time instead of an hour or two a week on their business. So where are you at on a monthly income level by the 12th? It's the 12th of January 2016. Where are you at right now with guaranteed income for January?
Okay, so if everything comes through in January,
yep,
that'll be in I split everything. I'm 50-50 partners on all my projects, just because in the beginning I didn't have any money to do any of this stuff. So I said, hey, if you guys fund this stuff, I'll do all the work. So right. I did a lot of that. But it's going to pay me over $4,000 if I don't close anything from now till January 31st. It's going to be at least $4,000. My goal is to probably be closer to like 6-7 in that range, because I have some stuff in the pipeline I'll close here hopefully in the next couple of days or whatever. But yeah, I mean, if I worked all this on myself, if I had money in the beginning, I'd be making closer to 8 or 9. So it's up to you.
But I think that's another thing too to kind of like point out. Like I feel like a lot of the program, some of the strengths is there's so many different types of people in the program with so many different strengths and weaknesses or what have you. That the ability to partner up and get things rolling when you might not be in as great of a financial situation or wherever you might be, I think those things are huge. I know for me personally, when I got into this business, I was just laid off from my job. My daughter was 2 months old or so, and my wife was still in school. And I didn't have like a quote unquote partner I could just ping in the Facebook group and say, hey, you do this, I'll do this. And like, so I was like freaking out on an island by myself. So dude, I think it's like, it's a great thing that you were able to use the resource of the private Facebook mastermind group and work with some other people, even though now looking at it, you're probably like kicking yourself going, dude, it's 50% of my income. Partnerships aren't cheap, but sometimes they're what are needed in order for you to get your feet off the ground. Exactly.
It really just depends. Honestly, if I had more money in the beginning, I would have stuck 100% just because I know the income potential. But That being said, I couldn't have gotten anything off the ground because I didn't have any money. I wasn't making any money, with expenses and stuff. It was hard for me. So I definitely recommend, doing, by the way, I think I still haven't even paid off all my job killing tuition fee.
Hey, that's cool. That's why we got payment plans, man. Earn while you learn, baby. Like,
exactly.
You went out and made a business that's worth, well, we'll say it, if you call it $4,000 a month, whatever you're at, $4 or $5,000 a month, that's $48,000 a year. And we taught you all that information up front with you putting 10% down or whatever it was, probably less than that at the time. I think we had a better, longer term finance plan at the time. But either way, like, that's what it's all about, right? It's
Yep.
like the same thing that we're telling you to go do with these business owners, results in advance. We're asking people like, look, if you're going to do this, like, you don't have to have it all, but we'll teach you everything up front. So you can go out and take the knowledge and everything we did and turn it into what kind of something you did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And for the people who are watching this who maybe think, oh, I wasn't sure what I just bought, or I maybe invested a lot of money. The money I invested, it's being paid off, like, in maybe 5 weeks per my year. 5 weeks of my year, of my 52 weeks, is the money is already been paid off, and the other 47 is just pure profit. So you have to weigh if you don't want any rewards, you don't take any risks. And I wanted a big reward, so that's why I took the risk. And did I have a ton of money to be able to afford this? I didn't have a ton of money. I mean, I wasn't making a lot, and I thought to myself, do I want to continue not making a lot, or do I want to invest my last dollars into this and really get something out of it? And now it's just amazing. I never have to work another job again. I don't have to do a lot of things. I was getting up at 6 a.m., putting on a suit, being in a place I didn't want to be, talking to people I didn't want to talk to, working, making somebody else a lot of money. And that wasn't what I wanted to do. And so I'm definitely very thankful finding this, and it's been great.
Any future plans? What's your goal for this year, for 2016? Do you have some goals?
Yeah, I do. So my goal is to earn. I mean, it's beyond totally reasonable. It's probably just kind of a weak goal, but the goal is to earn 100,000 in net income this year after expenses and everything. I want to bring in 100,000. Okay. I should be able to do that. Honestly, it doesn't scare me. I do need to create a goal that does scare me. I'm thinking maybe 150 would be something that would scare me a little bit. But I mean, the fact that I made like $29,000 last year is it's sad, and it's funny that I'll make that within maybe 3 months at this point, 4 months if I close some sweet deals. So
sure. Sweet, dude. So parting words, you got any advice for someone on the outside looking in, who's kind of like, weighing things out? Any advice from you, 24-year-old who's starting to kick ass at this?
Yeah, here's my main tip is to invest 100% of what you got into this business, and you'll get the rewards. If you invest 50%, you'll get 50% of your return on your investment. It's one of those things where you got to take this serious. If you want your business and you want your money and you want your success to be serious, you got to be serious about this. And so listen to what Dan has to say. Ask a lot of questions. I probably annoyed Dan. I think I actually got one of Dan's assistants fired because I was asking so many questions, and it caused like a rift between them or whatever. But that was on me. I take blame for that one, Dan.
I've never fired anyone, but I know people do quit.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I definitely asked a lot of questions. Bugged these guys crazy. Just made
them nuts. He probably quit because you asked so many questions. I didn't fire him.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know what happened, but all I know is that I asked a lot of questions. I demand a lot of these guys' time, so I recommend doing the exact same thing. Put Dan to work, make him earn his money, and put Brad to work, make these guys earn their money.
That's cool, man. Hey, I'm gonna need the rest of your tuition at the end of this thing. Now that I know what kind of ball and numbers you're doing, I'll just make sure I bill off the rest of the card, and we'll just be good. Okay?
Yeah, we'll talk about
Husky, by the way.
Next year, man. The streak is coming to an end. We're gonna win.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to do this interview. I know you don't have to do this type of stuff. I'm gonna post this in the group and out on YouTube, and so I do really appreciate your time, man, and keep kicking butt. Dude, we'll see you inside the group. We'll see you on tonight's call in 1 hour from now, because I know you're still on those every week. So we'll see you then.
Awesome, brother. Appreciate it. Go out there and email people. Do some prospecting, everybody.
Late.